Well, why don't we go ahead and get started. I just wanted to start off by calling everyone's attention to the resolution to a topic that came up last time, which was, what do we do when we need technical help? Perhaps staff is not available. From Michelle, and it's now a link here just for everyone, and I'll put links elsewhere. I forget where else. I'll go to the wiki and find some places to put it, but there is a ticket tracking system. I don't know how responsive it's going to be, but I do think it is the right thing to do. And I believe if you were to go in and open a ticket, you would be able to associate it with the Aether project. So that's helpful for context. I couldn't give you any other advice, but it probably is something that we ought to do if we think, if we're not getting a response from DAF immediately.
So basically, it is for everything that DAF typically help us.
Yeah, I mean, we could. It might make sense to raise it more generally, and maybe there's other people that can help you. You know, maybe I can or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, if anything that you would have normally asked DAF for, this is something DAF should be watching. So this is a way to communicate with DAF as well.
Okay.
And maybe it's better than, I mean, the ONF wiki, I'm sorry, the ONF Slack is not his main home, so he checks it, but maybe not as regularly as he ought to. So it is a way to communicate with DAF as well.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
And like I said, I'll look at the wiki and see if there's other places I can put this link, but it is here for now. Which brings us to the next issue is the CLA issue. Gabriel, I went and took a look. It looks like everything's passed except he's not getting the CLA.
Right.
So this is an OMEC project issue.
Correct. But based on the comment on the wiki, it seems like the issue as well happens in the ONOS project as well.
So is this the only example of this? Is it because of the timing of when this ticket came?
I believe so.
Time for this guy?
I believe so, because I think the previous contributors already have the CLI signed. So this individual seems to be like a new contributor, and that's why we see the issue.
Yeah.
But also, as I mentioned, in the ONOS project, since Wujun, by the way, Wujun says that he's going to join a little bit late, and also Ajay said that he is not going to join due to an internal meeting.
Okay.
So I, at least since I also received notifications from the ONOS project, I have seen that a lot of lots of kind of like notifications asking the contributors, the team that Wujun is working with, saying, you know, thank you for your contribution, sign the CLI. But I believe, based on the comment on the wiki, it seems that they are also seeing or facing the same issue that at least we see in the OMEC project.
Got it. So high order bit here is the CLA has never been transitioned appropriately. I thought this had been taken care of long ago because I hadn't heard anything about it. It seems that we're still stuck in the past on this.
Yeah, it looks like there hasn't been any new contributors. Actually, let me see. I think there is somebody opened a PR on the SD core today. Sorry, in the Helm charts. Let me take a quick look. No, it was an issue that was open. Sorry.
Yeah, but Larry, I agree with you. You know, my understanding is that LF was going to change the repositories to point to the LF CLA tool, and that would then force everybody to sign new CLAs to continue to contribute. And it looks like it just never happened. And so maybe this is the first instance to use that new trouble ticketing system. And
yeah, it does sound like it. Gabriel, you want? I'm happy to go and try to make it work and give it a try. But if you wanted to submit a ticket to this guy,
where should it fall?
Yeah,
What
I
category?
have no idea. I don't think it's in, I don't know, it may be just other. Um, yeah, well, I guess technically it could be new service since it's never been done, but I would say,
But that needs to be addressed. Not again. I don't think it's just for the OMEC project or for a single repository, but for the entire OMEC project organization, and also I believe is for the ONOS project organization.
yeah, no, I
In
completely
GitHub.
agree. If we'd like, we can do this as a TST collective action here, which is, services,
GitHub maybe.
GitHub. Should I drag a screenshot? I guess I could put I could put this link in there. Yeah, I'll just put it up here.
If you would like, let me also give you an kind of like a PR from the OMIC project. Again, same issue with the CLA.
If you want to, yeah, I could say similar for, I think this will be sufficient.
Okay.
So it's https github.com onos project, right?
Yes.
All right, create. Yay. All right. TST took a collective action. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see the response time.
Oh, yeah, we'll report back. Maybe they'll resolve it by the end of the meeting. That would be something. Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm not expecting that. All right. So in terms of this particular instance, is there an ask that we just bypass it? Because we could. I mean, it's such a trivial
Well,
edit.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what are the underlying consequences. That I don't think I have the power also either to kind of bypass that.
It looks like I might.
Okay.
Would you like me to do it?
If you want that, that's fine. But to me, is as you said, is just in the README file a change. But I think probably would be better to wait.
Yeah, why don't we wait?
You know, to make sure, from the perspective of making sure that the new license agreement is in place, and we can ask this contributor to double check that he's able to sign the new license agreement and things like that. So
yeah, good point. Yeah, good point. So I will put ticket filed in the notes here. All right. All right, so the next point, Gabriel, is yours. Yeah, yes.
yeah, so the OME project, we have a mix of default branches, sometimes master or main. I think Wujon is now in the meeting in the case before we move actually to the standardized. Wouldn't you just join the meeting? So probably we can get his input regarding the CLA. Or
Hello, can you hear me?
yep.
Yep. So what's the issue? What's the topic now? So CLA.
Yeah, we just finalized talking about the CLA, and since you just joined, I don't know whether you have any input, insight about or any comments about the CLA, but just to give you some background information, we just filed a ticket through the Linux Foundation ticketing system to help us addressing the issue with the CLA.
Oh, I see. Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, so then moving on to the standardized kind of like the full name branch. It's very confusing. Most of the repositories are using the master as the default, but there is a few that use main as default. You know, if we can just use a single one, either one, but as long as it's just one. Otherwise, some repositories having master, some having main, it's kind of confusing. So I wanted to bring that up to the TST. If hopefully there is a decision on that, and since I have now admin access, I can start kind of
Let's
having
standardize
these.
on master. I think that was always the default that just didn't get it adhered to.
Sure, I mean either one works fine, but as long as only one instead of kind of having multiple confusing default branches.
Anyone object to that?
I don't object, but I will just point out that possibly the reason why you should check the creation date. I know that GitHub moved from master to main as the default for newly created projects a while back. So it's possible that the ones that were created as main were more recently created. So GitHub drew their line saying, you know, inclusive naming and that sort of stuff, that main is better than master.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does probably have some impacts down the road to change the default branch. You know, things in CI and other things like that might be heavily sort of leveraged off that default branch name. I think as well as that, you can change it on a per organization basis what the new default should be for the branch master or main. In Honest project, we stuck with master. It was there was no need to change it, and it's more convenient, like Gabrielle says, just to stick with one.
Yeah.
But I kind of wonder, is it worth the hassle of changing over? I know it can be confusing, but I would think it's a small inconvenience.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly on that. Open Networking Lab, which is where all the Aether on-ramp stuff is also 99% master, if not 100%.
So we're good if I kind of change the few. There's a few. There's not too many repositories that have main as the default branch, but you know, this confusing part. So that's what I was wondering, to go into just a single default branch name for the entire organization.
I think it's fine, since it's probably just a handful.
Yeah. Okay, so we're good if I kind of rename, you use a master as default branch for the different repositories?
I'm okay. Anyone else want to offer another?
Or an alternative? Okay.
Not head, just not head.
Not yet. All right. SD core roadmap. So let me think a second. I believe, I knew I brought it up somewhere. Here it is. Is what just basically bringing people's attention to it, or you want to discuss it?
Okay, so this is kind of, I think, a topic that Ajay had in the agenda. So we discussed last week as a kind of starting point of the whole process. Based on that, Ajay started putting together different notes of what we need to we need to do to kind of move to a newer 3GPP release. So based also on that, I started kind of working on a few things of those, and then I need some kind of clarification to better understand how we're going to move on that. So
Maybe for now, the right step is just to have people look at it, and when AJ's here, maybe next time we can spend more time on it.
sure, yeah, that's fine. So I start looking into the SVI interface and also the N2 interface. But that's what I actually need some input from Ajay or somebody who has more historical information about this. Because in my case, when I created the Go code for either the SVI components or for the N2, the output that I get is completely different compared to the current output that is there. So if that is the case, it's going to be a lot of work to try to kind of move to a newer release. However, if somebody has some historical information on how the Go code was created to get to the same kind of similar output of the Go, the structure of the Go code, that may be very helpful. It's gonna make things easier to move to a newer release. Otherwise, there is going to be a lot of work involved.
Yeah. So can I ask a question just in terms of reading this and internalizing it? Point 2A, is this data support means add user plane an IPER or something like that?
Correct. Well, no hyper, but adding support to showing like either, let's say, it could be a UDP socket or tunnel, such that you can the hyper can use that tunnel to send a user plane data.
Got it. Good. I like that. So scalable core, Bala is on, but he's going to put together a on-ramp blueprint for that over the summer. So we'll know what that delta is. Yeah, this is all good.
Yeah, something regarding like 0.6, the performance results for the UPF. That's something that Suresh is working on as well. So yeah, so we are already tackling some of these points.
I like this list, or at least the priority ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably
right.
one question for next time, at least when Ajay is here, or when somebody about around this time, it's about, I think, 3GPP is meeting, and that's when release 18 stuff is going to be frozen. So currently the code is in release 15. So would it make sense to move to release 17 or release 18, since it's already going to be frozen? It's already frozen. And so we can do either one of those, but it would be good to kind of have some input to see whether there is any objection about that.
So it's not a matter of being 100% release 17 or 18. It's a kind of a mix of features that get prioritized, right? I mean, we're not going to get to the point that we're 100% 18 compliant.
Well, it depends on the new features that you want to implement, right? So one thing is being compliant to release 18, another the additional features that were added on that specific release 18, for example. Let's say when I was kind of like browsing the release 17, at least from the N2 interface perspective, there was a few things related to multicast and broadcast transmissions or communication, sorry. And for release 18, what added on top of that was, if I'm not mistaken, was machine type of massive type of communications, and some additional changes to multicast communications as well. But neither of them, I think, at the moment we are interested in implementing. Yeah, unless somebody has a specific interest on those specific features, but either of them we could move to either of those features. It depends on what needs to be enabled. But from the specs perspective, we can say that we are aligned to release 17 or release 18.
Got it. Thanks. That's helpful. All right. Let's leave further discussion to when we have AJ as well. Okay, Jira access. I don't know where it's documented. So we will have Jira per project or sub-project. SD Core has its own Jira. SD RAN has its own Jira, correct?
Probably that's a question for.
Are you talking about historically or going forward?
Well, either way, I forget where.
I think there was a common Jira. I don't think they were separate, but I'm not certain.
Well, before we can document it, we need to know what to document. So this is. Does anyone want to take this on to propose next time? It's been long enough since I've jumped to Jira that I don't recall what the status is.
Yeah, well, I was just able to log into the ONF Jira and look at the projects, and there is a list, and there's SD Core and SD RAN are separate projects inside the ONF Jira.
All right, so there's. All right, we should document, obviously. What do we document?
Yeah.
And the issue here is that we still have ONF Jira, SD Core and SD RAN are two projects. That's fine, and all we really perhaps need to do is migrate the Jira to LF, and I would assume that the VM is probably already being built under LF, so it's really an LF Jira. We did more than probably, I know we did.
In that, what LF has the Amazon instance that this is running on?
Yeah, I believe that's correct. So I don't know who added this bullet item. Does anyone want to claim it?
Jira access?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so it's an absolutely valid point. That I was wondering what would be sufficient here, and if anyone has opinions. So from the core perspective, and maybe Gabriel, but maybe and Wujong from the SD-RAN perspective, is the current Jira projects valid, or do we need to completely reboot those? Is there any value in what's already there?
I personally haven't used Jira. I know that DAF uses sometimes when I kind of request his help. He basically says that he's gonna kind of record that on Jira so he doesn't forget. But personally, I know that I have access. DAF told me that I have access, but I haven't personally used it.
Yeah, for SD-RAN, same as what Gabriel said. So SD-RAN doesn't use Jira board also, but we do want to use new Jira board. So we can reboot it for SD-RAN. We can clear them everything, or we can create the new Jira board clearly, and then we can
so
use it.
it's thank you. That's the information I was looking for. It kind of sounds like we should just start over and set up Jira with. We can have an Aether Jira, we can have SD Core, SD RAN, and whatever else we want in there. On-ramp. So the proposal is to start fresh. Am I hearing correctly?
Yes.
Okay, good. I will take that up. Thank you. We're digging up some old dead bodies here that we have failed to deal with, and now we've got a couple of them. All right. Next, I don't see Bala, but I can just report at a high level that he is now up and running and has already merged in some support so that you can run, you can control a Kubernetes an Aether cluster from a separate management server rather than having the management server co-located with the cluster. And then that led to a set of subsequent issues. There was always a possibility, you could always do that, but once you did it, then other things broke, and he's been fixing those. So that, I think he's making good progress there. I know he got a to-do list of suggestions from Gabriel, and I can't remember now off the top of my head what else was on the list, but he and I went over it yesterday, and he was working on all of them. So that's it, more FYI for Gabriel, but yeah, sorry, I'm not able to fill in the details there because I just forgot them.
Yeah, so there were a few improvements, especially, for example, if the machine that you're using for on-ramp, well, especially the machine that is being used to deploy a Gnode vSIM already has Docker, then where a conflict is going to arise. So those little things, when you start fresh from zero, then, everything works perfect, but not always that's the case, right? So somebody may have already Docker deployed or installed, and then when you deploy on ramp and try to deploy anything that is Docker based, like Gnode vSIM, and they believe you run SIM also is same case, so there's going to be a conflict. So there are several things that I was kind of suggesting as improvements for the on-ramp that is going to make things easier. Regardless of
it was a good list.
Whether the management machine is a separate machine, whether the management.
Yeah. So he's making good progress on those, and I will have him do he should be mostly done by next week. So I'll have him do a report on the changes.
Now you mentioned that he's going to work on the scalability component of the SD core.
I'm sorry, what component?
Scalability of the SD core.
Yeah. That's his main objective is to define a blueprint that uses his scalability techniques.
Oh, okay. Yeah, from that perspective, you need to keep in mind that the Helm charts also need to be updated, because at the moment the replica set is fixed to 1. So that's something that he needs
so
to
his
make it
first
variable.
step is he's going to propose a blueprint for a scalable core. So yeah, he realizes there's several different parts to it, and he will come with a proposal, then we can push back on it.
Okay.
Whether it's layered on top of what's already released, it generates a new release. That's all open questions. All right, final. Kunal, I assume you now have the seed job running on Jenkins?
Yes. So yeah, so I have included uh, the Jenkins jobs update in seed job itself. Earlier, I was planning to create a cron job for that. So now with a single click of running a seed job, or we can create, we can generate the jobs from Jenkins job from the YAML or JJB definitions itself.
So there's a cookbook. There's a recipe for generating the Jenkins job from the JJB spec. I don't know. You type make job, whatever it is. Could you document the process in the README
Sure, I can do that.
of Aether Jenkins.
Yeah,
Good.
so for the Ether Jenkins repo, I have not merged the whole code so far because there is a YAML parser required and a loader was also required. So that is something is in, I mean, some unnecessary files are there. So I just need to clean it up and then I can probably merge this to Ether Jenkins repo. So currently it is in my repo right now. So I'll just create a PR once the repo is clean.
Yeah, so thank you. And do, this is going into the same repo. It's not a separate repo, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. So do the PR, and again, don't think of this, just for the time being, don't think of this as now the authoritative definition of all of this. Think of it as an example that anyone can replicate.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
once anyone can replicate it, then we will do a version of it that will become the standard version. But yeah, I've got a server. I can bring Jenkins up on it. I want to clone this repo and get that test running. That's basically what, and anyone should be able to do that. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I just want to have a point on Jira access point. So are we going to have a bug scrub kind of thing once the Jira is in place? I mean, from
From what I heard, there's no bug scrub.
Yeah.
And Ujong, you can say otherwise, but it seemed as though what's in Jira is so old that it's not of value.
Yeah. So I mean, going further, will there be a bug scrub? I mean, going forward.
Well, I mean, once we have a fresh Jira with tickets in it, we will find some process for bug scrub / working through it.
Yeah.
But we have to
Because
have,
I mean,
we have to have some tickets before we can scrub them.
Yeah, right. So we got some feedbacks from our clients regarding this, so that's why I just wanted to bring this point up.
Yeah. And to the extent you know of any bugs from olden days that needed to be added to Jira once we get the new Jira up, then certainly you can bring tickets over manually.
Sure. Right.
All right, so is there anything else? So the big to-do items here are, we've got the ticket filed on the CLA. We're going to start afresh with Jira. And then we'll get a PR on Aether Jenkins, and I would like others to try to replicate it as well, just to get feedback on how it ought to be structured, if anyone's willing to do that. And we'll get an update on the on-ramp changes, hopefully next time, and we'll jump back into the roadmap next time as well. Anything else? Just an FYI, and it didn't come up here, but maybe it will next time. I know that Suresh is working on a PR to add SRIOV support to Ether, so that'll be good to have too. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.